Welcome back. Women are single-handedly reviving box office sales and changing the narrative when it comes to retaining creative control. Oprah Winfrey's big screen musical revival of The Color Purple is opening on Christmas Day. It's one of the most anticipated movies of the season. It follows this summer's blockbuster, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Which is kicking off award season with 9 Golden Globe nominations. And the hottest concert tickets of the summer, now movie mega hits. Beyonce and Taylor Swift together, they're credited with adding over $5 billion to the U.S. economy with their tours and films. Beyonce taking total creative control, writing, directing, and producing the big screen version of Renaissance, and Swift's Eras Tour, which is now the highest grossing concert film ever at the global box office. And joining us now from Chicago is Shar Jossell, a journalist and writer focused on the intersections of gender, politics, race, and pop culture. Thanks for joining us today, Shar. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing fantastic.
Good to see you. So what did Beyonce and Taylor Swift provide fans that made them travel the world to attend shows, not just once, many times, and then head to the theaters?
Yeah, I'm one of those fans. I saw Beyonce a few times, but I think that what Beyonce and Taylor Swift both have the ability to do is just to touch people. I think with the backdrop of, what's going on with the world, there's so many different headlines coming at us with the 24-hour news cycle. Beyonce and Taylor Swift they provided this past summer a healthy dose of escapism, if only just for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just escapism, yeah.
I saw Renaissance, and it was really enjoyable. Like you said, a nice break from what's happening in the world. So the title, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, is titled to make it clear who's in charge. She wrote it, she produced it, and she stars in it. What are we to understand about her taking complete control of this film?
Well, this isn't the first time. Beyonce had a 2013 documentary a decade ago on HBO titled Life is But a Dream, where she did the same things. And so I think that because Beyonce, when we look at her linear career, she's always at least been in control of her narrative, always, from like the inception of Destiny's Child. And I think that with each new release and with each new project, she kind of reinforces who's in charge of and what's going on.
Now, these concert films brought in literally millions of dollars. So do you think we're going to see artists offer more of these concert films?
Honestly, Karen, if they can, Beyonce and Taylor Swift are kind of anomalies with today's pop culture landscape. It's not very many artists that can, for one, sell out stadiums. People are struggling to sell out arenas, if we're being honest. And then for two, get people into the theaters to see films. I think a lot of people it would be safest to maybe release their concert film on a streamer because Beyonce and Taylor Swift are really they're kind of in their own league.
Yes, indeed they are. Now, another media mogul who is in her own league, Oprah Winfrey, was a driving force behind bringing the musical version of The Color Purple to the big screen. How pivotal do you think she is to the success and visibility of this film?
A lot of people were just now being introduced to The Color Purple. I had the esteemed privilege and pleasure of actually screening the 2023 rendition a month ago. And, Oprah's influence and her impact is definitely what's going to get people into theaters. She's someone who has dominated the landscape for decades. And I think that this is a beloved classic. People love Alice Walker's book, which is the original text. People love the 1985 film, which stars Oprah herself and Danny Glover and Whoopi Goldberg and a few others. And I think that this cast is phenomenal, and Oprah's stamp of approval being the driving force behind this musical is what's going to get people definitely in the theaters to see it.
Now, you've said you've seen The Color Purple already. Everybody knows by now it opens Christmas Day. There have been a couple of nominations for Golden Globes in acting categories, but so far the film hasn't received the critical acclaim of the 1986 film. Did you like the movie, and do you have any predictions based on early buzz around the film?
I did like the movie. It is different. It is a reimagining. Like if you're walking into the theater expecting the 1985 version, don't do that because this film is based on the musical, right? So there is going to be music involved in lots of it. I think that the performances, honestly, for me, Fantasia Barrino, who stars as Miss Seeley, and Danielle Brooks, who stars as Miss Sophia, everybody does a great job. Corey Hawkins is Harpo and Coleman Domingo is Mr. Everybody does a fantastic job. But those two performances of Fantasia and Danielle Brooks just knocked my socks off. And I do think that people are going to be slow to catch up to it. But right now we're in, FYC, for your consideration season. And I do think that this film will get retroactively the roses that it deserves because the 1985 version, they were robbed. That cast was robbed, especially
Yes.
at the Oscars.
Yes, yes.
I do think that this one's going to be different.
Shar, let me share some data with you. A survey of the top 100 grossing domestic releases found that women only accounted for 33% of movie protagonists in the year 2022, and that represented just a 2 percentage point increase over 2021. And in 2022, 80% of films featured more male than female characters. That's according to a report by the Center for the Study of Women in Television and Film at San Diego State University. So do you think the box office success of this year's female-focused films will convince Hollywood to greenlight more projects featuring women as leads?
Honestly, Karen, I have my fingers crossed. That is my prayer. I think that diversity in storytelling, it's what's going to keep Hollywood afloat, especially with the direction that we're going just as a society. I think that it'll be keynote. It will actually be paramount in keeping the business afloat. People, audiences, moviegoers want diversity in storytelling. And, I noticed that, Barbie was mentioned in the opening segment or whatever, like Barbie and Beyonce and Taylor Swift. These films are doing fairly well, and there's going to be hits and misses. It depends on the context and the subject matter of the film. But I do think that women-led films are going to hopefully be more greenlit as we move forward. It's about to be 2024. Like, come on. Now.
Let's get with it, right? And of course, it's all about the green. So if Hollywood sees it's going to make money, they will make sure women are in the lead, right?
Yes.
Okay, Shar Jossell, thank you so much for joining us today. Take care.
Thank you.
Up next, Real Women Have Curves, the new musical that explores life's unexpected twists and turns. That's when Cityline continues.